Hey, officially, welcome to our October Higher Ed Action Team call. It's really great to have all of you on here to see some returning faces, also see some new faces and names. So as we begin our call, we always like to start with just getting to know each other a little bit, and also having a little bit of a non-climate related check-in question. So for tonight's call, I would love it if we could go around the room and have everybody share their names, pronouns, where you're based, what university you attend if you're a student. Of course, this is a space that is for students and folks from all different walks of life, so no worries if you're not at a university. Also, let me know if you have joined a higher ed action team call or a heat call before. And for tonight's connection question, because it is spooky season, the most wonderful time of the year, what is your favorite scary movie? So I will go ahead and introduce myself. And as I do that, it'd be very helpful if everybody could use the reactions feature on Zoom to raise your hand. And I'll explain why. It's going to make these introductions a lot easier. So I'm Stephanie Mungia. My pronouns are she, her, ella, and I am based in Miami, Florida, which is thankfully seemingly going to be spared from the worst impacts of this impending hurricane. I am no longer and never again a student, which is very exciting for me. And I am the student engagement director at CCL, which is what brings me to this call. So I have joined and hosted many a heat call before. My favorite scary movie, I should have actually planned this out in advance. Oh, there are so many. I will admit though, I'm not a big horror fan, so I'm just like learning the genre. I'm just being exposed to it. But I think I Know What You Did Last Summer is a pretty solid starting point for me. It was probably one of the first ones that I watched and didn't completely terrify me. So yeah. So now that we have most everybody with their hands raised, what this will help us do is see who hasn't gotten a chance to introduce themselves yet. So I will pass it over to Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly. I use she, her pronouns. I go to Oberlin College, which is near Cleveland, but I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota originally. And yeah, I have been to a few heat calls before. Um, Scary movie. Honestly, I'm like not a horror person at all. So like this this is gonna sound so stupid, but the only movie that pops into my head is The Gremlins, which is not even a scary movie, but that's the first thing that comes to mind. Um, and it's kind of what's my favorite in any way, but it's a movie, so you know. Um, I'll pass it on to Max.
Sweet. Thanks, Holly. I'm also not much of a scary movie person, so we'll see what I say when I get to that part. Hey, everyone. My name's Max. I'm the Greater Pacific Northwest Fellow. I live in California, but I went to school at University of Oregon, and I graduated a couple years ago. My pronouns are he, him. Did I miss anything besides scary movie? Oh, I've been to a heat call before, a few heat calls before, and I don't know. The only thing that's coming to mind is The Purge, but that is like the only scary movie that I've seen. I don't know, maybe people don't even think that's scary, but that's all I've got. And I'll pass it off to Sadie.
Hi everyone. Um, sorry, I was just about to send a little DM to June saying hi. My name's Sadie. I use she, her pronouns. I'm based in Vermont. I go to the University of Vermont. We have our whole UVM officer team here tonight. Yay, very exciting. Um, and yeah, no, I've been doing heat calls for like well over a year now, kind of like a year and a half. Crazy. And I really love the Scream movies. I'm a sucker for like a very corny, scary movie. They're just so great and they're a work of art. The first one is amazing. And I will popcorn it to what is Sam?
Hello, my name is Sam Cutchins. My pronouns are he, him. Where I'm based Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Currently living in Shalimar, Florida. University, I have not attended a university, but I am part of Northwest Florida State College, the Niceville and Fort Walton Beach campuses. I have joined a heat call last time. Um, my favorite scary movie. That's a bit tough. The only one that I can really think of, if we're talking movie and not horror in general, because if it was horror in general, I probably would have said that right now. It was Junji Ito's Spiral, but or Uzumaki as it's called. But if we're talking about a movie, I would say, I don't know, maybe The Shining. Shining, that one comes to mind, in particular. I think I'll pass it over to Lance.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Lance. My pronouns are he, him. Um, I attended West Georgia University. I graduated some years ago. I currently reside in Georgia. So I do my operations and business out of Georgia. My favorite scary movie. I don't know. Killer Clowns from Outer Space because it made me laugh. It was supposed to be scary, but then it wasn't. But then it was really funny. So that's my movie. I'm gonna popcorn it to Jack.
Hey guys, I'm Jack. I use he, him pronouns, and I am based out of Vermont. I attend the University of Vermont, and this is the first call that I've been a part of. So exciting for that. Um, I'd say there's probably two scary movies that I really like. And the first one is Hereditary, and then the second one is Scary Movie, the first one. It's really good. Um, okay. I'm gonna bounce it over to June.
Wait, so the movie is called Scary Movie?
Yes, it's
What is
called
it even
Scary Movie.
about?
It's a
It's like a
parody.
spoof. Yeah.
It's
It's
so
it's
funny,
funny.
June. You have to
June,
watch
you
it.
have to watch it. I don't know how we can host a screening on Zoom of Scary Movie, like
Oh,
all of them, but you have to see this. This is an
okay.
important piece of pop culture.
And
Okay.
one of them is based off of Scream too. Like they have a lot of that in there. So good.
Okay. Like, I am the biggest scaredy cat. I cannot watch horror. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I will like this the whole time. Um, anyway, I'm June, he, him. I'm the CCL Great Lakes Fellow. I'm going to Rutgers University in New Jersey. I'm in the dining hall here. I had a bowl of Cheerios as part of my dinner. And yeah, I don't have a favorite because I don't like scary movies. I just really don't. But parodies, yes, I vibe with parodies. Uh, I will pass it on to Isla.
Hi, everyone. My name is Isla. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Mid-Atlantic Regional Fellow for CCL. I'm originally from Shreveport, Louisiana, but I'm currently based in Blacksburg, Virginia, and I go to Virginia Tech. And I've also been to a few heat calls. And like everyone else, or most of the people here, I'm not a horror fan. I actually actively avoid watching horror movies. So, I'll just say The Conjuring, because I think that's the only one I've seen. And I'll pass it on to Lily.
Hi, I'm Lily. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a student at UVM, but I'm from Massachusetts. And this is my first call. And I'd say my favorite horror movie is The Silence of the Lambs. And I'll pass it to Amelia.
Hello, I'm Amelia. I use she, her pronouns. I also go to UVM and I'm also from Massachusetts. And this is my first call that I've been on. And okay, in terms of scary movies, I do really enjoy The Conjuring. And also, oh, there was another one that I was going to say. I recently watched Midsummer for the second time and was just as shocked as I was the first time. So that's I think I like that movie as well. I will pass it on to Hope.
Hi everyone, I'm Hope. I also go to UVM. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm originally from New Jersey. And this is also my first heat call. I'm not a big scary movie person, but I like Get Out if we count that as a scary movie. And I'll pass it to Serena.
Hello, my name's Serena. I use she, her pronouns, and I am currently leading the Michigan State University chapter. I've been involved in heat calls and CCL for around a year. CCL a little bit longer, I guess, than the heat calls. And I get my scary content more from true crime, I would say. But I do like the Fear Street trilogy. I think it's super interesting how different all three of them are from each other. Um, and yeah, I will pass it to Theory, my fellow Spartan.
Theory may not be able to unmute. All right, is there anybody, while we wait for Theory to see if maybe they can unmute, is there anybody else who didn't get a chance to introduce themselves who would like to? I think we got through all the raised hands, but. Okay. All right, well, if you would like to introduce yourself in the chat, Theory, we'd love to learn more about you other than you are at Michigan State as well. So welcome, very nice to meet you. Very nice to get to know all of you a little bit better. Thank you for helping me to populate my spooky season movie playlist. I will definitely be reminding myself of some of these and maybe learning about some new ones. Before we go any further, what I would really love is for everybody to log their attendance on a community of this meeting. This helps you rack up points, helps your chapter rack up points. UVM is about to get a lot of points for meeting attendance tonight. Well done, Sadie. So please follow that link. Hopefully it should take you to a page where it'll just say like your action has been logged. And if you're having any issues, just let me know.
Question.
Yes, Sadie.
At some point, either on one of these meetings or just in an email, could you show me how to like make a link like that where people can just click on it and it's like logged, good to go? Because that would be really sick.
I would love to show you this, Sadie, because I also did not know how to do this until 2 months ago, and I thought my
Oh my
coworkers just had
God,
a
same.
secret trick. And
Yes.
I was like, why does somebody else have like more permissions than I do? Like, I'm also
Yeah.
on staff. I should be, it turns out it's a stupid,
No,
easy
and
thing
that's
to
so
do.
much like nicer than having to like manually go and type
Yeah.
everybody's name into community.
No kidding. Yeah, I would spend like an hour and a half the day after every single heat call, just manually typing in each of you and having to stalk you on community to figure out what chapter you're associated with. Because yeah, that was my life until I discovered this feature. So yes, I will gladly show you how to do this. Thank you for reminding me to put that into a future campus leader email.
Thank
Because it
you.
definitely helps. Great. All right. Well, tonight's theme, as you probably all saw in the emails and on the action team meeting event page, we're talking all about elections because of course we are less than a month away from election day, which is wild, and there is still so much work to be done and so many more people to reach. So tonight is going to be entirely GOAT campaign themed. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Climate GOAT campaign, this is the campaign we've been working on all year with our friends at the National Youth Action Team. Some of the folks on this call, like Isla and June, have been really involved in planning that, and you've probably seen their faces on videos on our Instagram page because they are helping us create content as well. So I don't know if Isla or June, either of you would like to share a little bit about the GOAT campaign and what we're trying to do rather than having me talk for the entire meeting. I'd love to turn it over to one of you instead.
I could start. Like put it very simply, it's a get out the vote, quietly get out the vote, effort to get younger people to go vote. But for those who can't vote, to just spread the word, to make people more aware, so that when they are able to register to vote, that they do. Many young people tend to be apathetic, as many of you probably know. about politics. And so our idea is that the more people talk about it, the more that maybe they can get others to start thinking about it and caring about it. Isla, did I miss anything?
No, that was really good. Every month we've been doing these mini challenges, and so for October, it's kind of like our last and final get out the vote, be the climate goat mini challenge, where it's just having a conversation about climate voting every single day. And 10 people do it, that's 310 conversations. So that's kind of like what we're focusing on for this last month.
Yeah, great summary, guys. So yeah, just to also add a little bit more of the context of why we're doing this. Hopefully all of us on this call already feel this way, but young people, despite having relatively little, like limited direct political power, we have a lot of kind of emotional power in storytelling around climate change. So really what the Climate Goat campaign does, for those of you who may have jumped on the call a few minutes before we started and maybe heard Holly and I talking about like the rational pragmatist versus the like idealistic, moralistic climate arguments. Climate Goat is really connecting with the emotional experience of climate change. And nobody can really speak to that better than young people who have grown up experiencing some of the worst impacts, certainly all of the worst impacts that any generation has seen before. So the goal is, by having each of you kind of talk about your experience of climate change with your friends and family members and explaining like why you're so passionate about this issue, will help them to also understand why it's an important issue. The goal being to move climate up the list of priorities, because almost always it is one of the lowest priority things that voters are considering when they're heading to the polls. But given that climate touches on so many different aspects of life, we want to make sure that it becomes one of their top 3 priorities, if not the very top. So that's a little bit about the Climate Goat campaign. The challenges are very straightforward to just get out there and have more of these conversations. But given that we are now in October, there are also a lot of things that we as individuals can do. And also by us doing them, we can motivate those around us to do them too. So tonight we're going to walk through a couple of different actions, which is great to have folks representing different campus chapters here as well, because this is part of what we'll also reinforce during our campus leader strategy call, and that I hope you'll engage your full chapters on. We're going to walk through 3 kind of high impact actions tonight. The first one is going to be a little mini ballot research party, which is a really great thing to do if you have a group on campus, whether it's a CCL group or a different climate group, or just like the people who live on your floor in your dorm. It does not have to be very specific. Then we're going to do a little bit of social media stuff because it is National Voter Education Week. And then we are going to make a plan to vote. And if we have time, we're going to also reach out to a friend or family member and have like a Climate Goat style conversation that taps into that emotional experience I was just talking about. So we're going to start with the ballot research party. And I have a question for everybody on here. You can raise your physical or virtual hand. Have you received your either absentee ballot because you're planning to vote by mail, or a sample ballot because you're planning to vote in person, and are getting the inside scoop on what to expect? No. Okay, June has. Yay, June. Isla has. Okay,
I'm voting
amazing.
by mail.
Yay, I am voting by mail also. And Sam, awesome. Okay, good. We are on track, at least for some of us. And for the rest of us, we're going to get on track with this. So if you don't have your ballot yet, I'm going to put this link in the chat where you can look up your sample ballot. So it's very straightforward. You'll just put in your street address information. It does collect a decent amount of information, so I do apologize that you're sharing all of this with people. I would share my screen, but then you would all know where I live, which might be a bit much. But once you put everything in, you'll click on see what's on your ballot at the bottom of the screen. If you can just give me a thumbs up when you reach that stage. I realize it might take a minute to input all the information. All right, thank you, Sadie. Folks all able to access that sample ballot?
It's for me.
Awesome. All right, so you should be seeing something that looks a little bit like this. It will include all of the races for elected officials in your district. And then it will also include a section on ballot measures. So in a traditional ballot research party, like if you were hosting this for you and 100 of your closest friends, which I definitely challenge you all to do, you would have everybody look up their sample ballot, and then you might ask them some questions about, especially if you have any ballot measures that might have an impact on climate action or like be an environmental related issue. And of course, you can ask them similar questions about like the climate stances of candidates up and down the tickets. This is really helpful because it also links to the websites of all of those candidates. And if you are stuck on like what types of questions you should be asking, we have a resource to help you with that. Once I can get it right here. So we have developed this guide to being a climate voter. So I'll put that in the chat, and we've got probably about 5 minutes for everybody to do some independent research into what's on your ballot. Try asking yourself some of the questions that are at the top of this climate voter guide about some of those candidates on your ballot. Of course, as you get more and more local in races, there's often less and less information about candidates' platforms. Frustrating, I know, but do your best with the people you can learn about. And if you're hosting a party, then you might have a conversation. So if you encounter a ballot measure and you're like, I'm not entirely sure like how to feel about this, and you want to bring it into this space, we can discuss it here. So I'll take about 5 minutes to do that. And I will see if I can figure out how to like stream some music or something so it's less quiet. those are our 5 minutes. I know 5 minutes is not a lot of time to get through anything, but I wanted to just thank Amelia for bringing up that weirdness you encountered. Obviously, every state is also different about how they handle like constitutional amendments, what kinds of measures make it to the ballot. So it's entirely possible that you won't have ballot measures, or that if you host this with a group of people, some people may not have any ballot measures. I just cross-checked this also with Amelia's zip code on US Vote Foundation, which is another place you can look up sample ballots, and there is nothing but electoral races on there. So it looks like you probably won't have any ballot measures on when you go to vote this year. All right. Anybody find anything surprising or like learn something new about a candidate or a ballot measure that they hadn't had much time to think about? Or like just learn for the first time what was going to be on their ballot? Yeah, Sadie.
I was not really paying attention much to the Vermont gubernatorial race. We've had shockingly, even though Vermont's a very blue state, a Republican governor for like 13 years now, Phil Scott. He's very well liked in Vermont. Like people like him. I know a lot of Democrats that really like him. But I wasn't really batting an eye at that, and I wasn't really thinking that much about it. But I just read into the Democratic candidate, and she seems really cool, and she's endorsed by a lot of other politicians in Burlington and in Vermont that I know and really like. So like I'll definitely be looking into her more, and I think that'll be really interesting. Phil Scott's probably going to keep winning. People really like him, and he's been saying it for a while, but I don't know. He's also cool. So I just thought that was interesting to see the other candidate too.
Yeah, even if a race isn't like very hotly contested, it's still good to know who might be up and comers or likely candidates on future races as well. So even if she doesn't win this round, at some point, Phil Scott will have to step down, and maybe she'll be on the ticket again. Any other things learned or surprises? Yeah, Sam.
I mean, I haven't learned much from my like research exactly. I'd have to look more into it. I was looking at Tim Walz, which is Harris's like running mate. And yeah, he seems pretty, adamant on actually implementing, I think, clean energy solutions and stuff like that, and home weatherization and you know, all that kind of, good stuff. They has come under fire apparently for supporting I think it was like a energy permitting reform bill, and also has apparently actively decided to like fight back against, I think, protests of like a pipeline that was on indigenous grounds, like a protest that was like against that. From what I could glean from the like simple information, I'd have to again, I'd have to look more into it. I have to do a lot more research over the coming week for all the candidates. But yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And I will say ballot research parties are normally very long. This is just to give you a taste of like in 5 minutes, you were able to like pull up your sample ballot, start to familiarize yourself with some of the races and candidates and ballot measures. But I definitely encourage you to spend some time in the next couple of weeks to really get to know what's on your ballot. Because I think a lot of times we get so swept up in the presidential race that we forget about all the climate things that are going on down ballot. And the point of some of these ballot research parties is to make sure that people aren't forgetting about those down ticket items that actually have a huge impact on our lived experience of climate change on the local level. Yeah, June.
I just want to comment that like that's what I hear over and over again when people saying like, oh, New Jersey's a blue state, it doesn't matter. Like, but like this the fact that there's also a House race, there's also a Senate race, there's also a county commissioner race. So all these races are going on too. So your vote does matter.
Great point. Yes, Isla.
I just wanted to share, I just found out that in Louisiana, there's I'm not going to explain this very well, but basically there's like voting on an amendment to allow extra like revenue from renewable energy to go to protecting the coast. And like, as you know, in Louisiana, that's something that's taking a lot of damage from climate change. And I didn't know that at all. And so that's really cool and just a little climate amendment that I didn't know about.
That's really awesome. Thanks for sharing that, and hopefully that passes. Awesome. All right. So now let's move on to a different way that we can exercise our power. Maybe everybody in this call's favorite, maybe your most favorite, maybe you're opting out. But if you are a big fan of social media, this is your time to shine. So we have a couple of different options of how you can use social media in the run up to the election. And I think it kind of comes down to one of two categories. One of them is to motivate people, to get them to do a thing you want them to do, like vote and vote with the climate in mind. And the other one is to inform them, like making sure that they actually know when registration deadlines are, which by the way, 3 of them passed yesterday and a bunch of them are passing today. So if you don't know when your voter registration deadline is, please look that up immediately. You can actually find that at cclusa.org/vote if you did not know that yet. But here are a couple of options for tonight. We're going to spend about 10 minutes making some social media content. The first path of motivating people is very open-ended. You can make a post or a resource or an Instagram reel about why you're voting. I'd love it if you would tag ccl.highered so we can also see that. And of course, in 10 minutes, depending on how speedy you are with social media, you may or may not get done. But you can see some examples on our Instagram page as well of some of the types of content that we've been creating as part of the Climate Goat campaign, if you're looking for some inspiration on motivational posts. So I'll put the link to our IG there in the chat. Also, memes strongly accepted and beloved in this community. So if you are a comedian, please make a meme. It will really motivate a lot of people, actually. And then if you choose to use the inform version of this instead, I'm going to drop a template in here of some really important information that you can share to your Instagram stories to let your network know about some of those key dates. So you can fill in this template with key dates for your region. And of course, you know, you will likely have friends and family members who are not in your district, so dates may be different. But the gist is that you can make a copy of this template and fill in these dates. So for example, if you are in one of those like 12 states that have registration deadlines today, very important to get this up to date. Some states have specific rules about when your mail-in ballot must be postmarked by, which make it actually earlier than election day itself. And when early voting starts and ends, really important for folks who are planning to vote in person but don't want to deal with the crowds of election day. So everybody can pick a path. I'd love to see in the chat if you think you're going team motivate or team inform. So you can go ahead and let me know. I'm going to try to make like a little emoji poll to make that easier. This is not very exciting emoji options. Here we go. We'll do this. And we'll have about 6 minutes to work on that. And I will try to get the music back on. I actually don't know if it worked last time, but hopefully it did.
I couldn't hear anything. I don't know.
No,
Wait, did y'all hear something? Is that just me?
No, I
it
can.
didn't work. Devastating.
I got my lo-fi beats. It's okay.
Okay. You may have to do that. I had this great chill mix on Spotify, but I'll just put the link to that in the chat if you want to jam out to the same music. Team Motivate can do meme or not, up to you. It could be like a reel, a video of yourself talking about why you're voting for climate. It can be just like like a little like text post, your face, your cat's face, very effective. People love cats at Instagram. So yeah, just be creative with it. Use whatever you think will motivate your audience and your network to think about the election in a new way. Just one more minute. All right. I know we are losing folks because it is late, but I hope people made some progress towards a post. Did anybody finish a post in those 5 minutes? I know that was not a lot of time. Looks like no. Okay, so I will be looking for these posts tomorrow. Tag CCL Higher Ed or send it to us if you don't want to tag us in it. A little bit of accountability there, but it was good to see a little split there between Team Motivate and Team Inform. Very excited to see what you all came up with, and especially any fun memes. All right, so we're going to move into our last action because I don't think we're going to have time to actually have a climate goat conversation, unfortunately. But I will challenge all of you to please join our October mini challenge and have some of these conversations with your friends and family. All of the information is in that agenda I put in the chat earlier. But arguably one of the most important things you can do right now is make a plan to vote and make sure that everybody around you has a plan. So I have 3 key questions for each of you to answer. And I'd love it if folks would answer in the chat so we can all see this. The questions are, how will you vote? Meaning, are you going to vote absentee? Are you going to do early voting? Are you going to vote in person on election day? When will you vote? Also related to all of those. And where will you vote? So actually finding your local polling location, making sure that you have a plan for how to get there. If you're going to need to drive, walk, bike, take public transit, like some of these will get to the point of feeling kind of ridiculously specific. But like on when will you vote, if it is time specific, like I'm going to vote on a Tuesday during the early voting period at 9 a.m. because if I miss that one window of time, I'm going to have classes and I'm going to not be able to do it anymore. Like be very, very specific in answering these questions. Yes, Sam.
So can I answer those 3 questions on mic?
Sure, if you'd like to.
Yeah. So for the first, so how will I vote? I will vote in person at the polls. That's how I'll vote. When will I vote? I will vote, I think, around the early voting period. So that starts in Florida October 26th, and I think it ends November 2nd or something like that.
Exactly right. Yep.
And where will I vote? I believe I can vote at the polls at the DMV office, I think, if I recall. One question, because I asked my nanny about this. How long do the polls usually last throughout the day? Is it actually like 12 hours, like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.? Is that true?
Generally speaking, yes. Exact hours. What may happen is like if a polling location gets overloaded with too many people in line, that may affect their hours. Like I know my undergrad institution, we had a polling location at our student center and the line was frequently excessively long. And so they would stay open until later than advertised, but it was literally just like their hours were 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., but they were still processing people who were in line at 7 p.m. at like midnight because there were just that many people voting. So yeah, I believe that the actual hours should be dictated by polling location, and you can find that on the link I just put in the chat.
Okay, yeah. I guess also is that does those general amount of like 7 hours or 12 hours, does that still apply on election day?
Yeah, that's generally true on election day too.
Okay, good, good.
Awesome. Love seeing all of these plans. I will be voting by mail, joining this voting by mail crowd. It's just so easy. Although I am still mad, at least in the state of Florida, I know in some states they will actually send you your I voted sticker, even if you're an absentee voter. In Florida, they will not. And I'm a little salty because I've never wanted to deal with the crowds and lines. So I've never actually gotten an I voted sticker. It just
No.
seems super unfair. So if you have an extra one for any reason, feel free to send it my way. Nice. This might be the thing that makes me like finally break my rule of not putting stickers on like bottles and laptops.
Yes.
If I finally get an I voted sticker, that seems momentous enough.
Yeah.
Amazing. Great plans, everybody. All right, so now to make this even more powerful, I want each of you to drop in the chat who you are going to get to do this with you. So if you're voting in person, who is hopping in the car with you? If you are filling out your absentee ballot, who are you going to have fill it out with you or walk with you to the post office or the mailbox to send it in? And you can also do this virtually. I've actually filled out my absentee ballot with a friend in like a whole different state, which is also very interesting to get to compare like what they're working on, like what their state's political priorities are. But yeah, it can be a lot of fun. Amazing. Holly is just like bringing everybody to the polls. We love this.
Yeah, Tuesdays are like super free for me. So I'm like, I can go anytime with
Amazing.
anyone. Yeah, last year Tuesdays were so busy and that was a challenge, but we're in a better spot this year.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you can be that person like and in the quad at your university being like, have you voted yet? And every time somebody says no, we'd be like, I'm taking you right now. Don't kidnap anybody, but do take them. Do make sure they vote. It's so important. Nice.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering how I can get people to do it with me as someone who's voting by mail. It's like that.
Yeah, you can just have somebody like host your ballot research party with your actual like mail-in ballot. You're like, we're gonna fill out our ballots together in real time, and then we're gonna walk down to the little like mail office in your dorm and send it off together.
I just like remind my roommates so much to the point that they're so annoyed, and then they will request their absentee ballot, and then I'm like keep reminding them, hey, have you filled it out? Have you filled it out? Have you filled it out? And then I have stamps, so you can always do that too.
Nice. Great strategies. All right,
I
well,
just
I'm
don't
feeling a
know.
lot more optimistic.
I don't know who else is voting by mail around me. I guess I gotta ask.
Yeah, exactly. You need to ask everybody those same 3 questions that I just had each of you answer.
Oh,
Because
wait,
it
okay.
turns out a lot of people like may not have requested an absentee ballot because they've totally forgotten, or they think that they're not able to. Or they're
Deadline's
like,
next
I'm gonna
week.
vote in person. Exactly. Like this is not time to play around. This is time to be requesting those ballots, researching those ballots, asking everybody around you to make sure that they are on track to vote on November 5th.
Deadline's next Tuesday in New Jersey. I have a group chat with 250 other college students on Instagram that are in the same program as me.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna be spamming that group chat. I'm gonna be spamming
Yes.
it. I'm gonna be that one
Yes.
kid. I'm gonna be that one kid.
Be that one kid. This is important. This is important enough. Amazing. All right. Thank you all so much for taking those actions. Those are like 3 pretty simple actions. We made some progress towards all of them just in the like 30 minutes that we had to work on that. So I hope that helps you all feel more confident and comfortable being involved in the election this year. Yes, Sam.
Will we have time after this for what was it for like social time or something? Will we have enough time?
Of course. Yeah, so definitely stay on if you've not been on one of these calls before. We like to hang out for a few minutes after and just share a little bit about what's going on in life, ask follow-up questions, so on and so forth. I am not going to take a group pick since so many people left, unfortunately. RIP, they'll just have to believe us when we say that we met, even though we did not get picked, so it did not happen. But I do want to share some really important announcements with people. These are in the agenda as well, so don't worry about remembering all of these. But if you want people to remember things, you have to say it like 5 million times. So as a reminder, we have our October mini challenge. With that, we are celebrating GOATtober all month long. So we are hosting a bunch of extra calls through the higher ed team and the National Youth Action Team, beginning with next week on Wednesday. We're going to have a Climate Goat evening of action, very similar to what we did tonight, but we're actually going to go into breakout rooms where you can kind of pick which of these activities you want to spend more time on, whether it's creating social media content, doing a little bit of ballot research, having a conversation with a friend or family member, like actively calling them up in that moment, just to kind of create a little bit more of a community space for all of this work together. So that'll be next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. On Monday, October 21st, we have our campus leader strategy call. I will say that's open to anybody. We're going to be focusing more on like group activities, but even if you don't have a CCL group, but you do have access to other groups, maybe it's a frat, maybe it's the people in your dorm, maybe it's a completely unrelated organization that you're involved in, like your school glee club or something, which I realize is probably not called Glee Club anymore. A cappella group, whatever. Whatever it's called, your dance troupe. We're gonna have a call focused on how to mobilize those folks before Election Day. And then on Wednesday, October 30th, on Halloween Eve at 7 p.m. Eastern, we are going to join the EVP phone banking night that the Election Engagement Action Team hosts every week. I really want to flood that call with a bunch of young people. So I hope you will all join and make some calls with us through EVP and make sure that they are all voting. This is like literally one of our last opportunities to do that, because early voting will be ending very soon at that point and they will be running out of time. So super important night. I may also make a costume challenge, but I need to talk to Todd about that because it is his space. So I will ask him if we can do a little Halloween costume contest during the EVP phone banking night. In addition, I wanted to share with you all that we have a new resource that has been put together by the GOAT campaign crew of actions you can take, 3 simple actions every single week leading up to the election that you can take. You can do these on your own, you can do these with friends, you can challenge your friends to do these, but you can go check those out at cclusa.org/GOAT roadmap for, like I said, 3 simple actions in order of priority, like what's going to be the most impactful for every week from now to Election Day. So those are all of my announcements. Thank you all for coming. There are so many more activities going on all across CCL, not only related to elections, but again, this is like priority #1 for us right now. So I hope you will all get involved and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about any of our election work. And I will see you all hopefully at all of these calls I just announced, which again are on the agenda, so you don't have to memorize them. They're also on our events calendar. But if not, I will see you on November 4th, the day before Election Day, for our next Higher Ed Action Team call. All right, have a great night and stay on for social time if you'd like.
Thank you.